everyone. Thank you for bearing with us as we have technical glitches, but it wouldn't be remote world, COVID-19 world without them. Welcome to CAIR Coalition's Eyes on Ice Truth and Accountability Forum. This forum will be interpreted. For more information about how that will work, I'm going to pass it to Chloe Sigal of the organization Mi Gente to talk more about that. But I'm going to interpret this very quickly into Spanish. Hola, bienvenidos a todos. Bienvenidos a La Migra en la Mira, foro sobre la verdad y responsabilidad, presentado por CAIR Coalition. Este foro será interpretado. Para más información sobre cómo esto trabajará, voy a pasarles a Chloe Sigal de la organización Mi Gente, quien hablará más sobre esto. Gracias, Chloe.
Gracias. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Chloe, estoy aquí el día de hoy con mi co-intérprete Jacinta. So hi everyone, my name is Chloe, I'm here with my co-interpreter Jacinta. Hoy proveeremos interpretación simultánea entre el inglés y el español. Podrá acceder a interpretación después de estas instrucciones. Today we'll be providing simultaneous English-Spanish interpretation, and you'll be able to access interpretation after these instructions. If you're using a computer, click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen with the word interpretation and select the channel with the language of your choice, English or Spanish. Si estás usando una computadora, haz clic en el icono de globo al pie de su pantalla con la interpretación. Selecciona el canal de su lenguaje preferido, inglés o español. For smartphone or tablet, click on the three dots labeled More to make your selection. Para teléfono inteligente o tableta, haz clic en los 3 puntos etiquetados Más para hacer su selección. No se olvide escoger su canal de lenguaje preferido y si tiene cualquier problema escuchándonos a nosotros o con la tecnología, por favor envíe un mensaje al chat. Gracias por su compromiso en crear un espacio multilingüe. So don't forget to click on your language of choice. If you have any problem hearing us or with the technology, please send a message in the chat. Thank you for your commitment to creating a multilingual space, and now interpretation will begin. Ahora la interpretación comenzará.
Thank you, Chloe. So first, thank you so much to everyone for making the time to join for us today. I'm Claudia Cubas, and I'm the litigation director at the Capital Area Immigrant Rights Coalition, also known as CAIR Coalition for short. CAIR Coalition is the only organization in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area focused on providing legal and social services to adults and children in the area. We regularly visit or speak with people who are detained at immigration centers nearby and provide them legal information, trying to connect them to resources so they can have an opportunity to fight their case and hopefully get out of detention. Today, we're going to hear from some folks who we have encountered at one point who were detained and facing imminent deportation from the United States. This forum is part of the national We Are Home campaign, which is being coordinated and brought by the organization Mi Gente. The purpose of the forum is to create a space for people directly impacted by immigration detention to share their stories, so we can expose the ICE enforcement practices we have witnessed and lay out solutions needed for a free and just future. For more information about Mi Gente, I'm going to turn it over to Jacinta Gonzalez. Jacinta, you're on.
Thank you so much, Claudia, and thank you everyone for being here with us. As was said, my name is Jacinta Gonzalez, and I'm a senior campaign organizer with Mi Gente. And Mi Gente, as well as dozens of immigrant rights organizations from across the country, have come together under the We Are Home coalition to be able to fight for immigrant justice. We know that there is much to be done in terms of passing new legislation in the halls of Congress, but we also know that the president, newly elected President Biden, and Secretary Mayorkas have the power and ability to do a lot to be able to overhaul our immigration enforcement system, to end deportations, and to end detention. And under this, we were very excited to know that under Biden's executive order on a moratorium on deportations, he instructed the Department of Homeland Security to conduct a full review of their enforcement practices. But we know that DHS alone cannot be trusted to conduct this review. We need the voices of those directly impacted to be at the forefront. And because of this, from the beginning of March until the end of April, we are conducting truth and accountability forums across the country. We've already heard from folks in detention in Washington State, workers in Chicago, folks who have passed through forced sterilizations in Georgia, and we're very excited to have another forum today here with CAIR. The idea of this is that at the end of these 2 months, once the first 100 days of this administration are done, we will be inviting Secretary Mayorkas to come to a National Truth and Accountability Forum to listen to all of the voices, to listen to all of the recommendations, and to hear the demands of the immigrant rights movement. We know that today we'll be focusing primarily on demands, for example, of stopping deportations and giving people stays of removal. We'll also be hearing about how we have to end immigrant detention. And so we hope that everyone will continue to support these demands. We'll be able to share in the chat different ways that people can get involved, from signing petitions, but also holding your own forum. So if you're watching this from another part of the country and are excited by the work that CAIR is doing, sign up and do a forum in your backyard. We know that we have to actually be hearing from everyone on all of these demands to be able to make them a reality. So it's very good to be able to partner with y'all, and I'll pass it back over to you, Claudia.
Thank you so much, Jacinta. Okay, everyone, here's the plan. Today, we will hear from neighbors, community members, and friends who have been directly impacted by ICE detention and enforcement. First, we're going to listen to them, to hear their personal stories. Then, local elected officials who have joined us today, they will be given a chance to speak, to acknowledge what they have heard and how they are with us, how they are with our community. Finally, we will go over key policy demands for the current Biden administration and ways you, our viewers, can help us get there. As we speak, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them and drop them in the question and answer box. Please know, however, we have a very compact schedule, so we may not be able to get to all your questions, but we will try. All right, so if you are ready, let's welcome our first panelists. I want to welcome Binzar. Binzar, can you hear me?
Oh, hi, Claudia. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin, I just want to remind you, please speak slowly for our interpreters. So let's get started. Let's hear your story. So I know that you're out and it's great to see you here with us, but how did you first come into contact with the immigration detention system?
I have contact with the immigration official on last year on February. That's the last contact when I have check-ins with the immigration official, and I have that check-in since 2012. And last year on February 25th, when I come to the Baltimore office immigration, and when the officer come to me, and then he said, "You are in our custody now." And then I asked the officer, what the reason? Can you explain to me? And the officer didn't give me any information at all. And then
Binzar,
yes.
did you know what was going on? Did you think that you were going to be detained then?
No, I don't expect at all, because I've been checking with them since 2012, and they always give me schedule for the next scheduled visit, and it's never happened until last year on February.
And how long were you detained, Binzar?
I got detained from February until April, early April.
And how was it that you got out,
I was detained on Frederick County Detention Center, and I get out because that time a lawyer filed for me. I can get out as long as they, we give them my passport, and it's kind of like a deal with them they let me out as long as I give them a passport. So yeah, so we give them passport.
And where was your family? How did your family deal with all of this?
When at Baltimore that time, I explained to officer that I do have two U.S. citizen kids and minors, and they still need my care, and they still need me. And then they said, no, all of you, the whole family going to Indonesia. They treat me, the whole family. Even I explained them that my kids cannot live in Indonesia because they are U.S. citizen, and Indonesian government going to send them back to U.S. And that's gonna be struggle for them and for me, and it's gonna be hardship for me and my family.
How old are your children, if I may ask?
My son is 15 and my daughter is 17.
So all they know is the United States.
Yes, ma'am.
Did now you're out, which is great. But how do you feel? Do you think it can happen again?
Yes, of course. Yeah, and it will. Yeah, it will happen again. And when I'm out, they just out. I'm out from early April until September.
Well, I'm really grateful to you, Binsar, for sharing that. I can't imagine how your family dealt with that. And I am hopeful that it will not happen again. We're going to hear more from other community members at the end of the forum, and we will have a space for action. Thank you again, Binsar. And I'm going to move on to our next panelist. I know that was important.
Thank you.
So viewers, I'm going to now switch to Spanish to speak to our next panelist, but again, simultaneous interpretation will occur. So, bienvenido, Tadeo, ¿nos oyes? Tadeo is our next panelist. Tadeo, ¿nos oyes? I'm not sure if Tadeo is, I can see him, but I'm not sure if he can hear us. So maybe we'll come back to him. Tadeo, ¿nos oyes? Yeah, so what I will do is meanwhile we live in this COVID-19 remote world, figuring out the technical issues, I'm going to play a comment by Abdulaziz, who is our next panelist. He has a message for you all, so allow me to please share my screen. Just give me a moment. I'm not sure if it can share my screen. Share screen. There you go. Okay.
Hello, my name is Abdulaziz and I am an immigrant who has been.
Can you hear?
So lately.
Yes, it sounds great, Claudia. Thank you.
Why the immigration detention center should be closed? Well, let me say this. First of all, any kind of detention is toxic for human being, and we should not punish immigrant for fleeing a persecution. That doesn't make any sense. And secondly, the immigration detention center is the unjust and inhuman system that I have ever seen. Just, let's picture this. Imagine yourself facing in court an official authority who has an unlimited access to fight your case while they are denying you to get access to your luggage. Just picture this and see how unjust, unfair, and inhuman is. And then I remember one time I have been told that seeking asylum while I'm in detention is not a right, it's only a privilege. Well, no, that's not a privilege. Seeking asylum is a right, and that's my right to ask asylum and to show the reason why I came in America. So, in conclusion, I will say that the immigration proceeding doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. America is better than this.
So I'm back, and I hope that that message left you with some thoughts, because I know it left me with some thoughts about a better future. So now I'm going to go on to our next panelist who is back, and I'm going to switch to Spanish. The next panelist is Tadeo. Tadeo, bienvenido. ¿Estás con nosotros? I can't hear you. No puedo oírte, Tadeo.
Hola.
Hola. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros, Tadeo.
Y hola, muy buenas tardes.
Bueno, yo sé que todo ha pasado muy rápido para ti, pero quería hacerte unas pocas preguntas. Yo sé que recientemente saliste de detención y quería saber tu historia de cómo pasó esto, ¿ok?
Sí.
Bueno, ¿por qué no les cuentas a nuestros vigentes y a mí cómo es que tuviste contacto por primera vez con el sistema de detención, con los oficiales de inmigración?
No, yo estaba aquí en Virginia y los oficiales de inmigración a mí me arrestaron y me llevaron a un centro de detención aquí mismo en Virginia.
Uh-huh. ¿Y cuánto tiempo estuviste detenido en Virginia, Tadeo?
Yo estuve 3 meses con 3 días.
Y esos 3 meses con 3 días, cuéntanos, porque yo nunca he sido detenida y creo que muchas personas no saben exactamente esa experiencia. Cuéntanos, ¿cómo fue para ti? ¿Cómo te sentiste?
Para mí fue muy pésimo porque yo nunca había estado en un centro de detención y nunca había estado así con inmigración. Entonces para mí fue algo muy duro porque yo llegué a donde ingresarme, a donde yo no sabía qué hacer ahí porque yo también no me pude comunicar con mi familia. Y entonces yo no tenía ningún número porque yo apenas ingresé a este país, entonces yo no me aprendí los números de aquí. Y entonces no me podía comunicar con ellos y para mí fue muy duro eso hasta que mi familia se comunicó conmigo.
Y Tadeo, tú dices que no podías comunicar con tu familia. ¿Qué no les preguntaste a los oficiales si podían tratar de ayudarte con eso?
Es que los policías, ellos no entienden el español. Ellos hablan puro inglés y entienden puro inglés. Entonces, yo sí les pedía, pero ellos no entendían y los que entendían decían que no estaba permitido prender mi teléfono ahí porque los contactos de mi familia los tenía en mi teléfono, entonces ellos no me dejaban prender mi teléfono ahí mismo en ese centro de detención, entonces nunca me pude comunicar con ellos hasta que ellos se comunicaron conmigo.
Y mientras tú estabas detenido, además de que ni te dejaban usar tu teléfono para agarrar los números para contactar a tu familia, cuéntanos, ¿cómo fue esa experiencia? ¿Cómo te trataban? ¿Cómo fue el tratamiento en detención?
Para mí fue muy duro eso porque, como le digo, ellos no entienden el español y en otra, la comida que te dan ahí no está buena, y hay veces que de cuentas te desesperas ahí o sea, también la comida que te dan es un poquita, pues, y es comida que nunca has comido afuera. Entonces, tú andas desesperado ahí, les pides algo así, pero ellos no entienden nada. No te dan nada porque no están en derecho de darte algo ellos.
Y Tadeo, cuando te detuvieron, ¿te dijeron qué iba a pasar contigo?
Sí, cuando ellos me detuvieron, ellos me dijeron que, bueno, un agente de migración dijo que me iba a expulsar a mi país. Entonces yo decidí de buscar buscar abogados, y por suerte mi familia los encontró a ustedes, tuvo comunicación con ustedes, con los abogados del colegio. Entonces de ahí decidimos apelar porque yo no puedo regresar a mi país.
Y yo no sé si explicaste eso, pero yo tengo entendido de que tú aplicaste para asilo y fuiste enfrente de un juez de inmigración, pero él te ordenó deportado. Cuéntame, ¿cómo te sentiste cuando eso pasó?
Oh, mira, sí, yo apliqué una aplicación para asilo, para poderme refugiar en este país, pero yo estuve enfrente de un juez de inmigración y ese juez de inmigración me rechazó todos mis papeles. Más que nada, él no leyó nada de mis documentos que ustedes le habían mostrado pues a él. Entonces él no leyó nada y entonces no vio nada de temor de que yo no quería regresar a mi país y él me ordenó deportación. Entonces yo estaba bien asustado.
Estabas bien asustado, estás diciendo. Cuéntame, tú dijiste que ahora estás apelando tu caso. En el tiempo que el juez te ordenó deportado, ¿tú sabías que tenías que apelar? ¿Tú sabías qué hacer?
No, porque el juez que me ordenó la deportación, él me dijo que yo no tenía derecho de seguir apelando y que si seguía apelando me iban a castigar porque un policía, un agente de migración me dijo que siguieran apelando que nos iban a castigar con cárcel aquí, con otra cárcel más grande que la del centro de detención donde estuvimos.
¿Y cómo es que supiste que podías apelar, que efectivamente sí había una manera de continuar de pelear tu caso?
Oh, porque uno de mis familiares, ellos se comunicó con ustedes y ustedes dijeron que sí se podía apelar eso y en otras yo tenía todo el derecho de seguir apelando para que un juez leera mi expediente que yo le había representado ahí, que no me lo votara como el otro juez sí me lo votó.
Okay. Y cuéntame, tú ahora estás libre, que es algo bueno. Dime, ¿cómo es que pudiste salir de allí? ¿O cómo es que tú supiste que podías salir? ¿Cuándo es que te dijeron que te iban a liberar?
No, ellos a mí no me habían dicho que me iban a liberar. Ellos, desde que el juez me ordenó la deportación, ellos me habían dicho que yo iba a ser expulsado de este país. Entonces, yo no sabía que iba a ser liberado. Yo estoy hablando con una abogada el día miércoles. Estuve llenando un papel ahí. Entonces, ya el día jueves ellos me pusieron en libertad, pero yo no sabía que me iban a poner en libertad. Simplemente ellos me fueron a sacar de mi celda. Entonces, yo pensé que ellos ya me iban a extraditar pues para mi país.
Entonces, cuando vinieron a tu celda, ¿ni sabías? ¿Tú creías que te iban a deportar, pero en vez te dejaron libre? ¿Eso es lo que pasó?
Sí, ellos, es lo que yo pensaba, que ellos me iban a expulsar, porque ahí ellos no te dicen pues nada, ni a dónde te llevan, ni a nada. Entonces yo pensé que me iban a expulsar del país. Entonces, como mi abogada había metido una apelación, entonces esa apelación ellos ahí la dieron y ya de que en ese mismo día me pusieron liberado, pues.
Bueno, gracias, Tadeo. Estamos tan agradecidos que pudiste dar tu historia hoy. Y me alegro mucho que saliste, ¿verdad? Y que no fuiste deportado y puedes continuar apelando y aplicando para asilo. So now I'm going to switch to English. And what I will do is, before our next and final panelist, I want to note something for you. Tadeo was recently released. His release was based on the new ICE enforcement priorities that went into effect in early February. We, of course, at CAIR Coalition are extremely relieved that he is out. But the truth is, his attorneys had to fight tooth and nail, escalating his case through 3 different levels just to get him out. This cannot be the way. There is a better way. Meanwhile, hundreds of people remain in detention, just like Tadeo was recently before. So now, with that in mind, I'm going to now go to our next and final panelist, Rodolfo. Rodolfo, and I'm going to switch to Spanish. Rodolfo, ¿nos puedes oír? Rodolfo, ¿nos puedes oír? Let's give Rodolfo a little bit of time. Rodolfo, hay que darle un poquito de tiempo. ¿Nos puedes oír?
If someone could please explain how to unmute, I think that would help because I see.
Rodolfo, si no me oyes, si alguien te puede ayudar a cómo quitar, cómo prender el micrófono para que puedas hablar con nosotros, si alguien está allí. Dice que está solo. Si Bridget, si tienes las instrucciones de cómo hacer esto, le podemos decir a Rodolfo. Y otra vez, gracias.
Está bien eso. Si yo veo Rodolfo, yo veo que Rodolfo está he's an attendee, not a panelist right now.
Maybe we can.
Puedo hacer, él levantó su mano, sí, creo que sí. Sí, él levantó su mano, so si yo voy a cambiarle a un panelista en vez de attendee. Ok, ahora Rodolfo puede intentar hablar. Para ver si funciona eso. Ok, a ver.
Sí.
Rodolfo.
¿Me escuchan?
Ok, bueno, he's gonna have my name, but this is Rodolfo.
Discúlpenle.
Okay. No hay problema, Rodolfo. Para nuestros vigentes, disculpen otra vez. Esta es vida en vía electrónico. Bienvenido, Rodolfo. Muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Bueno, vamos al grano. Empecemos con tu historia. ¿Cómo es que llegaste a ser detenido por inmigración?
Saliendo de hacer mi tiempo por el reentry, fueron por mí los US Marshals y me trajeron a una detención en Farmville, Virginia, donde de abril hasta marzo 8 más o menos, hice casi un año en detención.
Wow, y cuéntanos, ¿cómo fue estar viviendo casi un año en detención?
Honestamente, señorita, duro para mí, más para mis niñas, mi familia y mi señora madre, porque casi no me comunicaba con ellos y aparte el trato que nos daban no era un trato eficaz.
Cuando fuiste detenido, ¿en qué año fue que pasó esto?
Fue una vez que me presenté a corte aquí
¿Pero
en
qué
Richmond.
año? ¿En qué año, Rodolfo?
En el 2018 más o menos, señorita.
¿Y estuviste detenido en el 2019 y el 2020?
Sí, señorita.
Entonces, eso es cuando empezó el brote del coronavirus.
Sí.
¿Me estás diciendo de que estabas detenido durante ese tiempo?
Sí, desafortunadamente lo tuve 2 veces yo el COVID.
Wow. Cuéntame, ¿cómo es tener el virus mientras uno está viviendo efectivamente detenido?
Le soy honesto, señorita, muy mal, porque yo soy criado en un rancho en México y mi madre y mis tatarabuelos, que en paz descanses, siempre nos decíamos que fuéramos fuertes a todo lo que viene. Y ahí en esa institución, puro Tylenol, puro Advil nos daban para el dolor. Me tocó ver a bastante de mis compañeros que desafortunadamente se encuentran encarcelados. Les digo yo paisanos a todos ellos porque todos somos hermanos en los ojos de Dios. Somos del mismo color. Él nos creó desde gente de Honduras, gente de Guatemala, gente de África, gente de South África, talibanes. De todo el mundo me tocó ver gente caerse por lo mismo.
Cuando uno tiene el virus, lo que dicen el centro de verdad, de médico de nuestro gobierno, dice que uno tiene que practicar distancia social. ¿Cómo se puede hacer eso estando detenido?
Desafortunadamente, esa institución, señorita, como decimos nosotros los mexicanos, quieren tapar el sol con un dedo. Cuando venían los inspectores del estado, nos movían de una esquina a una esquina que no era más que 2 pies de lejano. Y empezaron a sacar a mucha gente, empezaron a darnos cubrebocas, pero siempre que venían las instituciones, y como dijo el compañero anteriormente, la comida, ahí si no trabajas ahí adentro y no tienes un familiar que te haga un favor, no comes bien. Pero gracias a Dios nos apoyamos bastante entre nosotros mutuamente. Si alguien tiene comida, por ejemplo, un servidor, yo dibujaba, hacía rosarios, hacía corazones con los Jolly Ranchers, hacía rosas y los vendíamos en los que tenían dinero y así comprábamos sopas, nos compartíamos el spread, la comida, el pan de cada día a nosotros. No,
Tú mencionas, ajá.
no me siento orgulloso de decir esto, pero entre nosotros mutuamente nos ayudamos mucho, señorita.
Eso es muy admirable. Tú mencionaste anteriormente que tienes niñas. ¿Cómo era vida sabiendo que tú estabas con el virus 2 veces detenido y tu familia? Cuéntame, ¿cómo fue eso? ¿Cómo fue esa experiencia?
Fuerte porque yo aparte tengo un problema mental. Me sobreviví a una golpiza que me dieron aquí en Richmond y el tratamiento para calmarme al psicólogo que yo iba no era el 100%. Yo hablaba con mis hijas todos los días. Simplemente el saber que estaba lejos de ellos, honestamente me estresaba yo bastante. Pero el oír su voz de mi niña, especialmente de mi niño Jesús y mi niña Destiny, no sé, me daba ánimo yo solo. Entre los mismos compañeros nos damos ánimos en nuestras reuniones también de Biblia, apoyarnos al 100% entre nosotros mutuamente, señorita.
Bueno, ahora estás libre y me estoy tan agradecida que tú has salido de allí y me imagino ahora has reunificado con tu familia. Cuéntame que ahora, ¿qué hacen juntos?
Todo, señorita, todo. Como decimos nosotros los mexicanos, no sé, pero yo a mis niños los traigo para todos lados juntos. Me vienen a dejar aquí a ayudarle a mis amigos, como ahorita me pidieron los agentes de ICE que no pudiera trabajar, pero honestamente yo no puedo estar sin trabajar. Me vengo a hacer trabajitos, como por ejemplo ahorita estoy arreglando el taller a un amigo y acabo de poner una transmisión. El jueves me salió una casa, ellos van y me dejan. Mi señora me regaló ahorita un celular, estar 24/7 preocupándome y mis niñas ni se diga.
Bueno, oye que me siento mejor sabiendo de que tu familia está junto y gracias, Rodolfo. No puedo imaginarme cómo viviste esa situación, pero nos da mucho gusto que estás aquí, estás libre y con tu familia. Ahora voy a cambiar a inglés por el resto de... Now I'm going to switch to English for the rest of the program. So thank you so much again to our 4 panelists, Binzar, Tadeo, Abdulaziz, and Rodolfo. for taking the time to come today or record a message and share your experiences. I know I am, and I'm sure you are all still processing what our panelists have shared with us. But I want to take a brief moment to offer our local elected officials on the line an opportunity to briefly say a word. First, I would like to welcome Representative Dawn Beyer of Virginia's 8th District. Representative Beyer, I see you're on. Welcome.
Muchas gracias, Claudia. I've really been moved by these stories today. And they match so well with what we've been hearing in Northern Virginia for the last couple of years. Dutch Ruppersberger, a member of Congress, and I visited two of the dads that were held in a Maryland jail. One whose daughter was taken away at age 5, the other son taken away 6 months old, separated from them as they crossed the border. We visited 64 young women who were so-called unaccompanied minors because they've been taken away from their parents, staying in an NGO out in Manassas. Among the many, many heartbreaking stories, that the family of that young woman, mother who was deported because she had a broken taillight, despite the fact that she had US citizen children, husband, and parents all here. I'm so proud today that we have a different administration committed to undoing what happened in the last administration, trying to find a responsible, compassionate way forward. We're going to vote, I think, tomorrow on the DREAM Act, which will provide a pathway for citizenship for all those dreamer children here in the United States, and also on the Farm Modernization Act, which once again will provide a pathway to citizenship. There's many, many people that are working here, contributing to our US economy, but don't have the rights and privileges of full US citizens yet. And I know the Biden administration and Linda Sanchez in the Congress are working very hard on a comprehensive immigration reform system. We need to recognize that every one of us, no matter how many hundreds of years we've been here, and with my family, it's maybe only 100 years, we're all immigrants. And we have the responsibility to share this wealth and recognize the incredible contribution that immigrants are making to not just our economy, but to our culture and to our quality of life and to our humanity. So thank you, CAIR, for fighting for this, and we will continue to do all we can to support you.
Thank you so much, Representative Beyer. I believe we also now have Bill Van Horn from Senator Cardin's office on the line. And just letting you know, luck of the Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see that green tie. So, Bill, to you.
Great. Thank you, Claudia, and thank you, Congressman Beyer. Senator Cardin from Maryland is sorry he couldn't make it today due to the schedule, but he did ask me to speak on his behalf. And I do want to echo many of Congressman Beyer's comments and thank CAIR for your work. You're doing very important and really unique and critical work in providing, legal services for immigrants, asylum seekers, refugees, the most vulnerable in our society. So we thank you for your work, and we look forward to continuing to be a partner with you on this critical work. Congressman Beyer said many of the points that Senator Cardin wanted to say in terms of we really need to work to reverse the damage of the last 4 years of the Trump administration on many immigration issues. So we look forward to partnering with you on that. In Maryland, also I wanted to highlight during the COVID pandemic, we have pushed in terms of ICE accountability, in terms of conditions and healthcare, and making sure that detainees are getting the adequate medical treatment, and then in many cases too, pushing for release and pushing for changes to settings. So we're happy to continue working with that effort. We're so pleased that the House is going to take up legislation, as the Congressman said, for Dreamers. We also advocate in Maryland quite a bit for those with temporary protective status, for TPS. We'd like them to get pathway to citizenship also. And as you said in the beginning, Claudia, this is our home now, right? And these are people's homes. It makes perfect sense to have them on a pathway to citizenship. So we look forward to working on that. And on the broader comprehensive reform, that will take more work, but we do think the time is now. We're pleased to work with Senator Menendez in the Senate and the Biden administration on the comprehensive immigration reform measure. So look forward to rolling up our sleeves, continuing to work with you again during this difficult time in the pandemic. But we do see, sunshine ahead, as we say, and there are changes coming. So we look forward to being partners with you on that. And thank you again for your work with CAIR.
Thank you so much, Bill. And Bo Machayo from Senator Warner's office. I think I see you. Just Bo.
Hey, thank you, Claudia.
Thank you
can
so
hear me?
much. Yes.
Yes, thanks so much, Congressman Beyer, and also Bill from Senator Cardin's office. I want to echo most of the comments that were relayed to them. Senator Warner is, like Bill mentioned, a huge proponent for a solution for comprehensive immigration reform, and then also has been really working tirelessly to make sure that we also are advocating for TPS recipients here in Virginia. We have over 28,000 TPS recipients, and so Senator Warner, especially in this recent stimulus package, has been a champion for just ensuring that folks get the same. That TPS holders have been, essential workers, and ensuring that they have the same benefits and receive the same type of assistance that the rest of Americans have as well. We have co-sponsored in last Congress the Secure Act, which would give current individuals who have TPS the ability to apply for legal residency, and working with Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to really ensure that the TPS designation for folks who have had it for the least 3 years would be eligible to apply for legal permanent residency. And so we look forward to working with CAIR and appreciate all the work that they're doing. As the son of immigrants myself, I understand how important this is, not only for folks in Central and Latin America, but also for folks within the African community as well. So looking forward to working with you all, and consider Senator Warner a partner of CAIR.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Representative Beyer. I know that David Hetlinger and Devon Ombres of the Honorable Representative Rutzberger's office and the Honorable Representative Jamie Raskin's office had mentioned they might join us, but unfortunately things are going crazy right now. Like everybody's talked about, there's a lot going on the Hill. They could not make it with us, but we are so grateful to have partners like you. I know I personally have benefited from your assistance at some point in time when some of my clients have been facing imminent deportation, and I have been able to call on you to help me support campaigns to stop their deportation. Thank you so much again. So finally, viewers, thank you all for your time. We are now coming to the end of this forum. As you've heard from Binzar, Tadeo, Abdulaziz, and Rodolfo, this situation is urgent. People are suffering. They're away from their communities. They're getting sick. They're being even denied access to evidence that could help their cases, their families, their rights. This is not okay. Something needs to change. Today's forum was meant to shed light on these issues. We've done that now. But now we want to be clear about a path forward, about the future. There are 3 important things that I want you to come away with. First, we need to end immigration detention. There is a better way. Second, we need to modernize the asylum system to allow people seeking asylum to enter the country rather than detaining them or turning them away. And third, we need to minimize the effects of systemic racism that is part of the immigration system, including criminal bars that only serve to propagate the same racist policies that abound in the criminal justice system. We must adopt prosecutorial discretion guidelines that allow ICE to stop hypercriminalization of immigrants. These are our policy priorities. After this, after the end of this forum, we at CAIR Coalition will send out a link with more information where you can read about this and action steps in terms of what you can do. But before I end, here are some couple things to consider to support ending immigration detention and to being a more welcoming nation. First, sign Mi Gente's petition to make these demands a reality. Look at these bills. Many of the representatives who were on this call talked about so many pieces of legislation, including there's pieces of legislation right now in Maryland to support the representation of detained immigrants while they're going before their immigration court proceedings. Also, join Detention Watch Network's COVID-19 Free Them All campaign, so no one else has to go through what Binzar, Tadeo, Abdulaziz, and Rodolfo, and many others have gone through. As promised, all of these resources you heard about today will be shared by email. Join us. We want to live in a fundamentally more welcoming world, and you can be part of that. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this concludes All Eyes on ICE. Thank you.